I'm in Salad and I saw I saw Scream 4. It is directed by Wes Craven. And I gotta say, I'm really craving the sequel to Scream 3. Because Scream 3 was meta and I'm very excited to have watched it. And now I get to review it. Alright, spoilers, if you haven't seen Scream 4, you should. I recommend doing so because the movie starts, you get to see these people. Classic, oh, we're gonna start the call, even with the credits. Alright, calling, someone's here, oh, it's a ghost face killer, oh boy. And wow, wacky adventures such as the killer actually isn't outside, he's inside the house the entire time, and then murders them, and then there's a second killer, and then murders another woman. And then that's the end of Stab 6, and then boom, it actually pops out to someone watching Stab 6, and then here's my super fun part, where you get to see these two characters, they're both blonde. One of them is talking about, hey, I want to talk about, I don't like how these sequels suck. Word vomit, go everywhere. Blah. And then the other woman is like, yeah, you don't like the sequels? Yeah, the other person's like, oh yeah, it's all predictable, okay? It's all predictable, and then bam, gets stabbed. You didn't predict this, huh? Now shut up and watch the movie. And then I was like, yeah, I feel like this is a direct commentary from like the director being like, yo, just watch the movie, stop overthinking stuff. And I agree with that. Just watch the movie, stop overthinking it. It's supposed to be fun. It's a movie. It's not real life. It's okay. It's okay. Alright, and then now we get to see, that was the end of Stab 7, which is like, whoa, what a weird ending to Stab 7. But then we get to see these two women are also talking about how Stab 7 is Stab 6 and Stab 6 is Stab 5, and then what is Stab 4, Stab 3, what? But then it's like, well, what begs the question? What is Stab 1? I guess you didn't think about that. Stab 1 has to be an original story, so there's some original story somewhere. Bam, boom, ba-ba-bam, bam, ba-bam, bomb drop. Flawless logic. Now we get to see these two people got murdered. It's the 15th anniversary of the Woodsboro murders, and looks again that there's another Ghostface killing people. That's not good. Murder is bad. And I do not like the Ghostface killer because he murders people. There's these Ghostface killer masks and I guess I call it a dress, cloak. Like on these lampposts, you got the police taking them down. Sydney's in town. Wow, she has a book. She's like, I don't want to be no victim no more. I'm gonna write about my stuff. And she also is like, I totally get Gale Weathers. I have no animosity towards her. She's A-okay to me. You know, good character growth. I like that. But we're at the book signing. Gale's there. They hug. They're like, wow, that's pretty neat. Look at all your life achievements. Boom, phone call. Police come. Oh, stay there. Phone call, phone ring. Phone in trunk of Sydney's rental car with a bunch of blood and stuff. So now Sydney is forced to stay in town and be part of this investigation. That's not fair. It's not fair to Sydney. Man, Sydney is a strong, independent woman now. She should be able to travel the country wherever she wants. But alas, she's stuck here. You got Judy. She's a cop making lemon squares. I personally would eat all of those lemon squares if she made them for me. But unfortunately, Dewey is not about eating those lemon squares because he does not want to get fat. And I applaud him for being... I don't know what the stats were for obesity in 2011 were, but it's around 40% now-ish. And I'm glad that Dewey is deciding not to be obese and fat. So good on him. I also love the cattiness from Judy. I feel like Judy likes Dewey in a way. It's like a weird boss brown nosing kind of thing going on because Gail Weathers, being in writer's block, can't write anything because, oh no, nothing interesting has happened to her except for this one thing. And that she gets to report on and do book deals. But now she has to write another book because money. That's what I am assuming. It's not actually said in the movie. But she goes to the police officer station. She's like, whoa, murders! Wow! It's all over the internet! Dewey goes to the... there's a whole conflict between her and Judy, which is like the start of like this weird tension between them two. I like it. It's like, what are you doing, Judy? What are you doing? I don't quite understand what you're doing at all. Could you please not stand in front of the door, make a whole scene? Dewey has to talk to Gail, and basically Dewey's like, you are not going to be on this investigation. It's like, okay, why not, Dewey? Why not? Is it because she's not a police officer now, so she doesn't get involved? But she literally wrote the book on it. It's hard for me to pick a side because I understand both of their perspectives on this. Because Dewey's now the sheriff and has to, like, keep things kind of strict. And, like, strictly, like, there's some boundaries between civilian and police work. On the other hand, Gail Weathers is a former reporter, so that's some media cred, but she's not anymore. So she's effectively a civilian. And so Gail Weathers, even having written the book on Woodsboro cases, is asking to be part of an investigation on another murder similar to those cases. But it's like, I don't think they would be the same. It's hard for me to pick a side. I ultimately would go with Dewey's side because it could just be a coincidence that all of these factors, like Ghostface Killer, is being used as like a murderer. Different cases 15 years later. Gail, what are you thinking about? But anyway, nothing about that. Now we get to see who the Ghostface Killer is actually after this time. Jill, which happens to be the cousin of Sydney. Weird. It's like, why not go after Sydney directly? I'm like big thinking. So we got the killer going after Sydney. Well, not even Sydney, like Sydney's cousins and her friends. And Sydney just like kind of happens to be around when the killer's there, so it's interesting. But we also get to see, oh no, Jill is in a breakup with Trevor. Oh no, love drama. No, what's the worst thing that happened? Ugh. Stuff like that. But Trevor really, loves her. Really loves her. And is like sad that they're not together. But also, Jill is like, yeah, I want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him at all. But, like, there's also a scene in which Jill is in her room, and guess who's in the room? Trevor, through an open door, just like the first movie. So it's like, oh, this is like a direct comparison. Then we get to see Sydney looking at Jill, because Sydney's home. Where else is she going to go? She has to stay around for the murders. We also get to see, oh man, some parts of this movie is a little bit blurry for me, but I do remember this next part where you got two people in houses. There's a cop surveillance in front of like these two houses. These two cops are like debating on whether they should leave or not. One of them to leave or not. And I'm like, no. Every time someone leaves, I'm like, please stay with a buddy. Please stop going alone places. Cop goes alone, and then other cop gets murdered. Those are murder sounds. And then Ghostface Killer calls, ring, 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 ring. Hello? The friend is like, hey, this Trevor, and it's like, no, it's actually the Ghostface Killer. I'm in the closet. There's a huge suspenseful moment where you open the closet and he's not there, but he's in the house across the street and killing your friend. Wow, that's, wow. Devastating. really good trickaroo. I did not expect that when I saw it. I was like, oh, where could the killer be? Oh, he's in the other house. Oh, this is sad. And also the cops are discovered to be dead. And now it's just so much more gruesomeness. Also, I got a Ghostface killer, like, pretty much during the struggle of Jill's friend, she's dead. During the struggle, Sydney walks in on the body of a gutted girl, and the gore is like nothing I've seen out of the Scream franchise. There's a whole intestine there. Like, wow, it's super gory and gross. I'm like, wow, I don't want Jill seeing this. Please do not have Jill feast her eyes on this badness. Ugh. It would make me throw up if I had to see it. But also, here's another scene that I do remember. Gail is like, I'm going to help with these investigations, and so I'm going to do is set up these cool cameras at this barn where there's a stab-a-thon. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings, but for stab movies. All 7 of them, back to back. And there's gonna be a stab-a-thon there. Oh no, this killer's there. He sets up the cameras. And she sets up the cameras, and she's like, oh no, the cameras are down. So she has to go back to the barn and then confront the killer. There's a webcam that she looks at, and that lets the killer know that Gail is there to reset the cameras. So he, or whoever is the killer, can go stab-a-rooney her. And because of all the noise and commotion, she is stabbed, kind of. Well, she gets, like, 1 stab, which is kind of brutal. I'm like, no, not Gail. But then Dewey comes in, and everyone is now alerted that there is a killer, and it's awesome. The killer goes away. Bye-bye, killer. Oh no, what could the final scene be? We all know that the killer is following some specific tropes from horror reboots. It's supposed to be a subversion of horror stuff, the horror genre, but a subversion upon the subversion. This is the very meta part. And it's just like, oh boy. Where is this killer going to kill now? Let's have all of our friends into one place. We also got, oh yeah, good old pal Trevor is invited, even though no one invited him. So who invited him? Presumably it's the killer. I'm like, whoa, wow. It's obviously the killer did it. But Jill goes away, everyone separates, and then all the blood bathing happens. So many stabs, so many murder, death, kills, stab, stab, stab. I'm reenacting it because this is super accurate. All of it. And then guess who reveals themselves to be the killer? Jill. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Of course Jill's the killer. She wants to be on the spotlight. She saw that Sydney, who was a victim her entire life, got all the spotlight, and now she's the perfect age to be like, oh, I'm going to be murder, death, killed, and be part victim. Oh. But then she's also like, here's my accomplice, and it's Charlie. Charlie, yeah. And then Jill, being the ultimate evil, kills Trevor. And also being the ultimate evil, kills Charlie, betrays him. And then being the ultimate evil, starts stabbing herself in the shoulder. It's, wow. It's just like, why would you stab yourself? And then, okay, here's what I have a problem with. If you're gonna frame yourself if you're gonna frame yourself as a victim of a murder, but you're the murderer, please do not stab yourself. Please do not, and then after you stab yourself, throw yourself into a wall, and then after that, throw yourself into a glass table so you're super cut up. It's like, oh boy, and you're gonna be the only survivor of at all. Go to the hospital. She's told, oh, Sydney might make it. And so her brain goes, oh, I gotta murder, death, kill her. Let's go to her room and try to strangle her. But because she said a really dumb thing to Gail, or she said a really dumb thing to Dewey, that's who it was, someone. She's like, oh yeah, I matched Gail. Oh yeah, I did it, I matched Gail. And it's like, well, she's obviously the killer. She's the only one who knew that Gail got stabbed there. So they go to the room, they find her trying to kill Sydney, and Sydney, big brain on her, uses the defibrillator to shock her brain. Awesome, I love it. And then bam, dead. Awesome. I hate Jill. I'm so glad she's dead. She's so evil. But I also understand why she's doing this. So I understand why she's doing it. It's the only way to success in her eyes is because Sydney was a big old victim in the big old world. And that was the end of the movie. Man, I really liked this movie, and I really enjoyed watching all of these movies, and I'm very excited to be watching the 5th one, and I'm very excited that the 6th one is going to be made. I really liked the subversion on all the horror tropes. Even though I haven't watched a lot of horror movies, I can still appreciate that these are subversion on horror movies, and it's a parody, and therefore I really enjoy it a lot, and it's funny to me. It's like a form of comedy. So I gotta give this movie a solid 7.1 out of 10. If you like that content and more content on patreon.com/ASEpresents for $3 a month, you get some daily vlogs. $5 a month, you get some salad dressing where I try on clothes and review them. And $20 a month, you get one movie review request per 1 month. So go check out patreon.com/ASEpresents. If you'd like to see some 18+ adult content, check out my link tree. You should definitely go to the Fansly that has a lot of the content there. You will really enjoy it. I promise you. It's like a treat for you. So go check out this link tree right here. Until next time, I'm Mint Salad Saw. I'll see y'all later, my salad croutons and bacon bits.